In professional wrestling, there are certain shows that stand out among all the rest. For WWE specifically, they have what is known as the Big Four, which refers to their four biggest and most historic annual events. The wrestling world has seen its fair share of dull moments at these events. From boring matches to questionable booking decisions that left fans scratching their heads. While Matt Hardy might be a legend in professional wrestling today, back in 1993, he was just starting out. He would end up facing Doink the Clown at WrestleMania 9. The match itself wasn't particularly bad. Fortunately, the match ended up being anything but that. Not only did the action take place in an unsafe environment, but the whole thing was painfully obvious. Unfortunately, it ended up being a huge letdown. After all, it pitted two of WWE's most dominant competitors against each other. Unfortunately, it ended up being a huge disappointment. Not only was the action slow and uneventful, but the whole thing was pointless. The Undertaker ended up winning the match and no one really cared. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge letdown. Unfortunately, the match didn't live up to expectations. Like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Not only was the action slow and uneventful, but the whole thing was anticlimactic. The two men fought to a double countout, and no one was really sure what that meant. This match was meant to be a thrilling matchup between two of WWE's most popular competitors. Unfortunately, it ended up being a huge disappointment. Not only was the action slow and uneventful, but the whole thing was anticlimactic. CM Punk ended up defeating Ryback, and no one really cared. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge letdown. In the end, the match was declared a draw, and everyone left disappointed. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge letdown. The match itself was sloppy and uninspired, and it was clear that neither man was trying their best. In the end, Shawn Michaels retained his title, and the match was forgotten about. Unfortunately, it ended up being a huge disappointment. Not only was the action slow and uneventful, but the whole thing was pointless. Edge ended up retaining his title and no one really cared. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge letdown. It was clear that neither wrestler was willing to put their body on the line to give the fans a great match, which made the whole thing feel pointless. This match was meant to be a thrilling six-man tag team match between two of WWF's most popular factions. Unfortunately, it ended up being a huge disappointment. Not only was the action slow and uneventful, but the whole thing was anticlimactic. The Shield ended up winning the match and no one really cared. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge letdown. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge disappointment. The two men were fighting in a parking lot, and all of the weapons used were far too fake-looking to make the match believable. To add insult to injury, the match ended with Kane chokeslamming Bam through a car windshield. But since the windshield was obviously fake, the move looked ridiculous, and the whole thing just degenerated into a slapstick comedy routine rather than a violent street fight. It was just really pointless. There was no build-up to the match whatsoever. After all, it pitted two of WWF's most popular stars against each other in what was supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania. Unfortunately, the match didn't live up to expectations. The action was slow and uneventful, and it was clear that neither man was going to win. In the end, Triple H retained his title, and the match was forgotten about. It was clear that neither wrestler was willing to put their body on the line to give the fans a great match, which made the whole thing feel pointless. This match was supposed to be a classic, but instead it was a huge disappointment, and it was clear to anyone watching that neither man had any real chance of winning. The result was that the match felt meaningless, which made it even more confusing when Hardy hit Doink with the Whisper in the wind for the win. No one was sure why Hardy won, and no one was sure why he was even there in the first place. The lack of logic made this an instant classic example of a pointless match. But fear not, because today we will be looking at some of the most disappointing moments from these four events. That's right. Today we will be counting down the top 10 worst Big Four matches and moments. Let's get into it. They are the Royal Rumble in January, WrestleMania in April, SummerSlam in August, and Survivor Series in November. And it is at these events that we see the biggest matches of the year. After all, it pitted two of WWE's biggest stars against each other in what was supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania. Unfortunately, the match itself didn't live up to expectations. The action was slow and clunky, and both wrestlers seemed off their game. In the end, it was obvious that this match wasn't going to main event WrestleMania, and it was moved down the card. The match ended with The Rock hitting his finishing move for the win, but no one really cared anymore by that point. This match was supposed to be one of the greatest of all time, but instead it was a huge disappointment. Now, while these are usually the 4 biggest wrestling events of the year, that doesn't mean they always deliver. Number 10, Doink the Clown vs. Matt Hardy at WrestleMania 9. No, 9, The Rock vs. John Cena at WrestleMania 28. This match was supposed to be a dream match. Number 8, Kane vs. Bam in the Backlot Brawl at SummerSlam 2002. This match was meant to be an exciting street fight between 2 of WWE's most brutal competitors. Number 7, Triple H vs. The Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 12. This match was one of the most anticipated of all time. Number 6, Shawn Michaels vs. Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19. This match was meant to be a showcase for 2 of WWE's most talented wrestlers. No. 5, Brock Lesnar vs. Goldberg at WrestleMania 20. This match was supposed to be a clash of the Titans. No. 4, The Undertaker vs. Floyd Mayweather at WrestleMania 24. This match was meant to be an exciting boxing match between 2 of WWE's biggest stars. No. 3, Edge vs. Jeff Hardy at SummerSlam 2009. This match was meant to be a thrilling matchup between 2 of WWE's most exciting wrestlers. No. 2, The Shield vs. The Wyatt family at WWE's 2014 Survivor Series. No. 1, CM Punk vs. Ryback at WWE's 2013 Payback. Well, that's it for today's video. What do you think? Did I miss any? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below.